Hello, everybody. This is your friend Jetta here, and welcome back to another week of podcasting. Today, we're just going to be talking about just different topics with aviation, and I'm here with my friend ZeroG. So, right off the bat, I just kind of want to clear up some things. I just was able to pass my private pilot check ride this past Tuesday, and it was super rewarding to not get disqualified and to get accepted.
Yeah, check rides are a fun topic. First check ride for you?
Yes, definitely first check ride.
Oh, how did it feel nervous-wise?
I mean, I was pretty nervous just kind of like when I rolled up to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But right after that, it was pretty calm once I got with the DPE and honestly, it was smooth sailing.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how my private pilot check ride went. It was not at this flight school. It was at another one. And, it's always, this is the first check ride, so you don't really know what to expect going into it. I didn't really have anyone to talk to. I didn't have, the same resources that we have here. So going into it, I knew, quite a bit less. And definitely a little nerve-wracking when I see the DPE pull into the parking lot at 6:30 in the morning, and I'm just barely awake. But yeah, there's always that weird feeling that you get for check rides. It's just this deep gut feeling that's oh my gosh, this matters so much. And it's definitely a very unique feeling. But how did you prepare for your check ride?
So for my check ride, it was very coincidental, but I originally had a date scheduled. I never told anyone because of external pressures. Mm-hmm. But I originally had a date set for April 26th with another DPE, and my instructor contacted me about less than 24 hours before, and he says, hey, a check ride spot open for tomorrow. You want to take it? And I said, you bet. It was very last minute, but in order to prepare, I would probably say the best tip is to just don't worry so much. And I personally pulled probably 12 hours straight of studying in between that time. It was very scary, I think. Mm-hmm. But, I guess it's just the fear of the unknown for the most part. Yeah. But I did have to make a flight plan, and I did that in about an hour and a half instead of 3 hours. But it definitely worked out.
Something that I like to think about when I was doing my check ride, since obviously for the first one I did, was also that private one. The way I like to prepare with that was I realized it was during COVID, so I was playing a lot of video games, and so I told my mom, I was like, hey mom, it's time to stop with the tomfoolery, and I gave her my remote controls, so I couldn't play any video games, and basically I just kind of studied for the 2 weeks straight before my check ride, and then you always go, we gotta, get a little bite to eat before, make sure that we can make sure our brains are functioning, maybe get a hamburger, maybe a little bit of barbecue sauce on that. So I love barbecue sauce, the barbecue sauce, Sweet Baby Ray's.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, their sauce is the boss.
It's so awesome. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, so yeah, just kind of prepare that way. And something that I kind of do now as routine, since I've done quite a few of these check rides, is I make that flight plan at night, do my weather, performance stuff. And then I kind of, it's not going to be perfect because it's a forecast. So I wake up super early in the morning, I'm 4:30, 4 a.m., because usually my check rides are at 7. Mm-hmm. And I just redo the flight plan and performance and stuff. And since I have the majority of it done, it's just small changes. But definitely something that I like to do is just kind of do it the night before, double check the morning of, just kind of refresh myself. And then, actually, when I take my stage checks or EOCs and stuff like that, I have this ritual where I used to think get a soda or something.
Yeah.
Get a soda. But But now I do a white pineapple monster,
Oh, nice.
and I've passed every one of my stage checks and EOCs when I drink one. So
Oh,
I
man.
think that's the way to go.
Must bring some luck.
Yeah, there's definitely something lucky about it. But yeah, check rides are definitely a very unique, scary feeling that you get. Like, just deep down, like, oh, I'm about to do this.
Oh, yeah. It's...
So.
And it's like a whole new world.
Mm-hmm.
But something that and I don't know, like, if you've been able to pick it out, but with me, the biggest thing for the ground and the flight is to make sure that you can just justify everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the DPE understands circumstances, and so if you're able to justify everything, justify your answer, then it'll be fine. I mean, that's how I passed mine, and I had the knowledge for it, and I showed it, but justify everything, and you'll be good. But what's your biggest tip for check ride?
Biggest tip for check ride?
Yes, any check ride.
Oof, any check ride. Honestly, the biggest tip is don't mess up anything that you're doing before the check ride. Like, we have to do these certain checklists before we go fly. Make sure you have those done. Make sure everything that you could possibly do before the check ride is done before the check ride, because that's only going to better prepare yourself. Like, if you go in without a very good flight plan and you don't really have any idea of why you chose what you chose, that's going to be very bad. I mean, get the stuff out. I mean, we always we talk about getting ahead of the airplane.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we would get ahead of the airplane on the ground, is by making sure you can get everything done beforehand that you can get done, because in that check ride we only have so much time, even though it does feel like the world's longest thing sometimes when we're in that check ride. But,
yeah, it does.
But yeah, honestly, just get done whatever you can beforehand, and make sure that everything is as accurate as possible.
Mm-hmm. And I'd probably also add on, just make sure you have everything organized.
Mm-hmm.
Like your documents, the CLIMB acronym, and make sure that you have all your numbers, IACRA filled out, and you'll be fine. And present yourself to the DPE like it's a job interview.
Yeah, that's probably a good piece of advice to me, because more than once I've gone in with a wrong IACRA. So.
Oh no, I've done that on a couple stage checks.
Oh.
Which was quite an interesting experience. But, so, what's been your hardest check ride so far?
Hardest check ride? I would probably say probably the commercial check ride.
Okay.
The CFI check ride is long. But as far as it being hard, I don't really feel like it's, like, unattainably hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like, it's long, but as long as you prepare it, it's not too bad. Just because, you can use your lesson plans. To whereas in a commercial check ride, you're held to a pretty high standard comparatively to, like, private or something.
Yes.
And you don't have lesson plans to aid you or assist you. I mean, you obviously can use, like, stuff like the FAR aim and stuff, but being held to a higher standard, and also, kind of having to use a lot of your knowledge just all at once is just painful.
Oh, yes.
It's pretty painful. So, yeah, I would say the commercial check ride is one that was a little more rough. In my opinion.
Okay.
All the check rides the check rides will be a unique thing with how hard there will be to whoever is the person taking the check ride, because it really just depends on how you prepared, your instructor, how they helped you out.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, just all those different kind of things. But yeah, in my experience, I would say the hardest one for me was definitely the commercial one.
Okay. Which I can definitely see. And that's going to be me in quite some time. Yeah. Probably next spring. But continuing on and kind of addressing the big bang or the onomatopoeia of it all, what got you into aviation specifically?
Yeah, so what got me into aviation? I just kind of liked airplanes, really.
Okay.
That's kind of where it was just like, I would say it first started with, for some reason, I had a fascination with the, just like space in general.
Okay.
But also like more like the what do they call the spaceships that they use? The white.
Oh, like the space shuttle?
Yeah, the space shuttles.
Yeah.
So I used to have like toy space shuttles and stuff, and it was just like super cool to me. And so like I like the way the space shuttles looked, the design of them, just like I don't know, just kind of like those.
Okay.
And then so like I had this like project one time in like 3rd grade or something, and it was like draw your dream house, and I just drew the space shuttle.
Honestly.
Just like weird things, and then like just liking airplanes, I guess, growing up, and then it wasn't really honestly until I was probably about 14 when I was like, this is like something I'd want to do is like fly airplanes. And so when I made that kind of known, that I would want to like fly these airplanes like to my family and stuff, like tell them like about it, like how cool it would be, they kind of were like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool, sounds like a cool idea, like good industry.
Yeah.
And then one year for Christmas, I think it was the Christmas where I was 14, turning 15 at the time. I got a discovery flight at a flight school.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I went and did that, and I actually did that before I even started driving. So it was kind of cool. And then
that is awesome.
And then yeah, after that discovery flight, I kind of just really was like, yeah, this is for sure what I'd want to do. And then I just kind of started looking at, like, you know, like my future of like, where do I take this? Where do I start, really? Because that's the beginning of everything. So I was like, you know, taking in the different kinds of routes that I would possibly be able to take, as far as like military, collegiate, private flight schools, and just kind of weighed all the different options. And then just kind of thought that the collegiate route would be the best because you also get a degree.
Exactly.
And you know, it is a little bit more expensive, but then I was like, coming to a school like SUU, it's really not that bad of a deal to get the bachelor's and all this flight training in such a cool plane.
Yes.
Like, I think it's definitely worth it.
It is. I guess I can like say a similar thing because I actually got into, you know, the whole travel bug when I first took a trip to Hawaii. I believe it was 2016, but I flew on a 737 Delta Airlines, and I was like, this is something I may be interested in, but I guess at the beginning, I just wanted to be a flight attendant, which obviously did not happen, but then I just kind of started vastly exploring the industry, and I came across being a pilot, and I was like, I want to be on the other side of those doors, and how cool would it be to be the pilot in command of the aircraft. But I also like space stuff, like NASA. I went to Kennedy Space Center last year, and that was awesome. But aviation, I was actually going to go Navy and Air Force, Navy and or Air Force, but I decided that, nope, this would be the best route for me based off, like, the entire future plan. And plus the bachelor's degree, I got scholarships, and I was like, this is the place to go. Yeah. But as far as aviation goes, do you have any, like, what are your plans with aviation?
Yeah, so I want to get paid, mostly.
Oh, yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah, I would say right now, kind of my plan is just finishing school, really, because I'll be done. I'll be done this summer, and so in the meantime, I'm kind of looking at jobs to be a flight instructor.
Okay.
And you know, just get those hours, and then go to the airlines. I don't really have airlines that I would love to go to.
Okay.
Like that I'm set on. I mean, I would definitely say that I would love to lean towards like a JetBlue, United, one of those.
Okay.
But honestly, I'm not dead set on any airline because that's still so far down the road, in my opinion.
It is. It's a while.
Let's just get done what we can get done right now, and then worry about that later. So, I would definitely say airlines is probably where I'd want to end up. And it's either airlines or like some like cargo, like UPS.
Okay.
I'd be interested in. So I just kind of want to fly something that is something like a larger aircraft, so not like a 737, but also not necessarily an A380.
Yeah, kind of like somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Maybe like 777, maybe?
Something like that, yeah. Or also, I mean, even like stuff like the like 757s are really cool.
Ooh, those are nice.
Yeah, so.
Those are super nice. I'm a big fan of Boeing, but like Airbus is good too. I'd probably say like 777, 787 maybe if possible.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of looking at Delta, but again, nothing's set in stone because I have such a long way.
Yeah.
I just got private. I still have all of the other ones, but it's definitely such a vast industry, and it's interesting to see the different opportunities that are out there, and they're not going to be digressing anytime soon. There's so many opportunities, and it's really cool.
That's true. So that's kind of also, I mean, to think about it, like, Delta is a great option, but at the same time, when I talk to these people that are saying, like, there are people that are at the airlines that I talk to about, like, maybe working for them one day.
Yeah.
So many of them just say to, like, make lists on, like, what are your priorities and things.
Okay.
Of, like, what airline will fit you, And I find that, like, kind of hard to do because it's, like, there's so much information out there about every airline. So, I mean, looking is kind of difficult, but I think what I'll rely on is probably friends that have gone to the airlines.
Yeah, which
just
makes
sense. Get their opinions.
Yeah, because it's really hard to kind of base, like, there's no general opinion. There's so many out there. And if you asked someone else, it's going to be one thing, and then another person, it's going to be something completely different, which is quite strange, but I guess it makes sense because we're all different.
Yeah. So I guess this is kind of more of the work and school side of our lives. But what is, like, some things you'd like to do in your free time?
In my free time, I love to do a lot of writing. Writing books. I have 2 books published so far on Wattpad. One of them is actually an aviation story that I wrote, I think it was 2 years ago, and I just finished it last year. But it's been really cool, and that book is basically just about a female pilot getting deployed, and it's really quite interesting. But I also like to, I don't know, just draw, hang out, chill. I love anything outdoors, so like baseball and just hanging out, camping. Camping is so much fun. I don't know about you, but camping's awesome.
I've only been camping twice, according to my friend. I call him a squirrely little munchkin.
Oh.
But yeah, he says I've only been camping twice because where I used to go camping in California was like a resort. So it wasn't really like real camping, according to him, because there was things like mini golf, like a arcade, things like that, like a store. And so I've only been, like, real camping twice, according to him. And, I mean, it's pretty fun. Just, like, I don't know. I feel like, maybe being in the warmth inside is also pretty cool, too.
Yeah. Just, like, in plants, like, gardening.
Yeah.
I have lots of house plants.
Yeah, I also enjoy that. Definitely baseball, though. I watch the Angel games pretty much every day when they're on. When football season's in, I watch the Vikings, so... always busy in the sports world. I also like to watch NASCAR. That's just something that's also pretty interesting, just like to pass time. Because, I mean, I really, like, that's kind of the only TV I watch. Like, do you watch much TV?
Honestly, no. I watch some pretty dumb things on YouTube, to be honest. Like, if anything, it's funny fails to cheer me up from a horrible day, or just random videos on TikTok and Instagram.
Well, I definitely watch random things on YouTube. Just kind of whatever I see that looks appealing or interesting. As far as TV show goes, I think I'd probably only say I like watch is probably The Simpsons. I like watching The Simpsons.
Okay.
And then also I like watching Practical Jokers. I don't know if you've seen much of them.
I have. It's been a while, but it's so funny.
I mean, they're just so funny. I mean, like the one episode where they always try to make each other laugh, but it's just one that like resonates with me is always super funny. Is when someone was wearing a shirt that said "I'm the beef."
Oh.
And so it's kind of funny that they do funny things with their friends that just try to make each other laugh in public, which I think is hilarious. I mean, I'd love to do that with like some of my really good friends, like my best friend Abby, and then I have other friends too. So that I'll do it with like my boy, Mr. Thatcher. Love to do it with him.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something that I would say is I do in my free time. But other than that, I mean, occasional video games.
Okay.
Just mostly like baseball games.
Yeah.
Call of Duty stuff. I mean, just regular things. But it's always good to get away from work and school, and then kind of just relax some days. You really need it being in how much we have to work.
Exactly, and the study and it's just kind of nice to break away from that.
Yeah.
And lately, the kicker on like YouTube has been bowling fails. And, like, recently I watched one where the guy threw the ball so hard that he hit the ceiling.
Oh.
And I love to go bowling, so, I just recently went to the one here in Cedar, and it was so much fun.
Really? Yeah, bowling. I am terrible at bowling, so I'd definitely say bowling is not one of my strong suits, but I guess another thing I'd like to do is a little outdoorsy is definitely to go fishing.
Oh.
So I like to go fishing, and I also go with some of my friends. Just one of them is that squirrely little munchkin. So we always just just kind of go have fun, fish, and then just always, you're fishing with your friends. You're just gonna have fun in general, no matter if you catch stuff or not.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
Fishing is, like, super relaxing, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my family, we like to go fishing, and it's just, there's something so nice just having a break. And kayaking, that's just something that we've recently picked up.
Kayaking?
Got some kayaking, or kayaks, and we go out kayaking, and it's so much fun. But probably one of my favorite things to do is definitely, right now, it's flying.
Flying?
Anything flying related. But the studying, there's a lot of work behind our careers and getting to where we want to be. It's a lot more than what the standard person would probably think. And what do you enjoy the most about flying?
Something I enjoy the most about definitely I would say it's absolutely flying. Especially because we're in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it is just seeing everything from above. Because you can go to Zion National Park, and like I've been there and I've ridden bicycles around there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like super beautiful, obviously, but flying over it is just like next level. Or like, there's another national park where I was just flying, and this is the Commercial One Lab, so you just get to fly around and have fun. I was with my instructor, and we were pretty far out from like the ridge, but there's like this ridge, and we were plenty of altitude, very safe distance away from it. But it was like almost like we were flying eye level with the top of the ridge, and it looked just like crazy. And it was like the backside of the park, so it was like people don't really see this much, and it's just like we get to see so much. And I would definitely say that another thing that I would add to that is flying. When I'm back home, I like to go fly, and flying over Southern California is just so crazy because you just look down and all you see is just people doing things. Like, there's houses, there's malls, grocery stores,
Yeah.
a ton of airports, and it's just like there's people down there living their life every single day. And then also, growing up there my entire life, I get to kind of see everything like all the places I've been all at once being, so high above it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of super cool. Just kind of like, I always think of it just like, growing up I had like a lot of Hot Wheels, and I would have like these
Yeah.
like, like fake rug maps.
Uh-huh.
And it's just kind of like, I get to now see that from the sky, like the rug map of where I live.
That is so cool.
Yeah. What is something you would say you enjoy the most about it?
Like you said, just like the different perspectives. Because I don't think that we realize just how amazing this world is. And it's pretty interesting because I used to hate the snow because I was born and raised in Utah. And every year when the snow started to fall, I'd be like, you've got to be kidding me again. But really, like, flying has just opened my perspective of just how amazing this world is. Like, I remember my solo cross country, the 150 nautical mile up to Delta and Fillmore and then back to Cedar. Everything was completely covered in snow. It was the snow-capped mountains, and all you saw was just blankets of snow. And it was almost like looking up at the blanket of clouds, but like I'm flying up in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just realized this is a lot more prettier than I thought. Maybe I shouldn't take the snow for granted, but
Yeah.
just being able to see the world from a new perspective has definitely been one of my favorite things. But going along with that, what would you say is or has been your favorite flight that you've ever made?
That's actually a pretty easy answer. Unbelievably enough, because I've had so many flights. Definitely a spin flight I did. So I got to do some spins, and that was by far the funnest flight I've been on. So, definitely the most exhilarating. At first I was like, whoa, a little scared. But after the first one, it was just like pure joy.
That is awesome. How many like spins did you actually make?
We did 3 spins.
Okay.
I don't really know how many rotations. We just kind of did those like kind of variously.
Okay.
What would you say was your favorite flight?
I mean, I would say probably like my check ride was awesome because I got certified, but I would definitely say my 150 nautical mile solo cross country because I realized that it was just me, the plane, the snow-capped mountains for miles and miles. And making an a different landing at a different airport by myself was quite the feat because it was nerve-wracking going that far by myself. But when I came back and I was like, I just did that.
Yeah.
How did I just do that?
Yeah.
And honestly, to tell you the truth, I never thought I would make it this far in training.
Well, here we are. You did it.
I never thought I would make it to solo.
Yeah.
Made it past solo. Did the 150 nautical mile one and just got certified. I never thought I would. But here we are.
Yeah, just got to keep chugging along. I guess we can just kind of wrap everything up and kind of just tell an aviation story that you'd like to share, or anything about any flights you've done, or do you have anything?
Yeah, so let's see. The best one I probably have is when I was on my 150 nautical mile cross country. I have lots of stories with that one. But so I went to Delta. It's kind of like my first landing point. And I got there and I was just kind of thinking, where's the airport? Like, it was the dumbest thing ever. I was like, shoot, where's the airport? I knew which runway I was taking. I got the weather, got set up to land, got down to pattern altitude. Well, where's the airport? So it took me a second, but I was visually scanning the area. I found the airport. And there was actually another guy in the pattern, but he departed to the north. And so I was doing a landing there, but I actually had to do a go-around because there were birds that flew right in front of me, and it was pretty close. But I mean, other than that, my initial solo I did in St. George, and that was so much fun. I had never taxied there before, but it was nice, and probably one of the most interesting flights was my towered solo. My first time, I went through the Bravo, got clearance, and I did my solo at Henderson Airport, and that was exhilarating. But what about you? What's been your flying stories?
Yeah, so I would just go ahead and tell you about my solo cross country.
Oh, yeah.
There's always stories on those.
Yeah.
So I've had a very different experience with mine, just because I was in Southern California, so we had all this airspace to worry about. Also, I was on a 6-pack, and I did not use any technology, so it was just like paper charts, 6-pack.
Yeah.
Get there.
Yeah.
And, I get flight following, I take off, and my transponder turns off on takeoff.
No.
And so they're like, "Can you restart the transponder?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And then I look inside and I'm like, "Well, how would I do that?" So I'm like, messing around with the transponder a little bit. Ended up working perfectly fine for the rest of the flight. But it was just like something where I was like usually if you're with an instructor and that happens, they're going to fix it and then it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Being on these cross-country solos, it's like you said, you're by yourself, you're actually doing it, and it creates such a good environment to learn in.
Yeah.
And me doing that, obviously I had to do that because I was on flight following with a code and everything. So once I got that fixed, though, the rest of the flight wasn't as bad as that.
That's good.
I was arriving to my first airport, and I asked if I could descend, which obviously if on flight following, VFR, you don't have to do that. Your altitude's at your discretion. But it's just like another little thing. I was like, oh, gotta learn that, check. And then, there's just so many different learning experiences on that flight because it's so long. You're going to different places that you're not really familiar with. And on top of that, you're also... you have to get there, so navigating there is also pretty interesting without anyone to be like, okay, what's over here, it's all up to you.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a very interesting experience, I'd say. It's a great experience, and I guess, another thing that happened on that flight was I tried to cancel flight following so I could go talk to it was an uncontrolled airport.
Okay.
So I was trying to get on the CTAF there because there was people doing pattern work. So I wanted to let them know I was coming before, and so I was like, I want to cancel flight following, and they said standby.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what do I do now? So I just
standby.
Flew in. I just flew in circles until they were like, okay, you're good. But yeah, so that flight's definitely. We both had some pretty interesting learning experiences on that flight, I'd say. But yeah, I would say that's probably the best story I could give.
That's super interesting, and that's what I just liked about the solo flights. It was just jumping into something new. But other than that, do you think that's all for this week, or anything else you want to say? Nope.
That was good.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening, and please like, subscribe, follow, and
ZeroG out.
Nice. See you next week.
Thank you so much for tuning in on our little podcast this week. And it was definitely a pleasure to have ZeroG come and chat with me about flying and just our life experiences. And it's really interesting to see different perspectives from pilots and what we've all been through, because a lot of it is the same, but when you look at the bigger picture of everything, it's it's very different. And aviation, there is nothing that is the same or will ever be the same. So stay tuned throughout the week for several posts about my check ride and what has happened this week. And please turn on notifications, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and I am working on TikTok. I haven't gotten much done with that, but just follow my journey and visit my website, jetaviator.com, for a blog post every Friday. So I will see you guys next week, and have a safe week. And definitely go out and enjoy some sunshine.